Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. Um, we wanted to, as Heike said, give some time to address folks' questions related to expedited UR. So I've just put together a couple of slides, which will hopefully answer some preliminary questions, and then we'll open it up to everybody after that. We have the Now I have to figure out how to go to the next slide. Oh, I figured it out. Good work. All right. Let's talk about expedited UR versus CSR first. So, as hopefully everybody knows, our state CSR requires the utilization review process. I'm sure everybody's fairly familiar with it. One of the things that happened when the state of emergency was declared is we got some special dispensation to come up with a process that would allow us to meet emergency service needs in a more agile way. So Expedited UR was developed as a response to the COVID-19 crisis. And we've gone in and out of this process a couple of times since it was originally rolled out in March of 2020. The reason we go in and out of it is because, like a lot of things, there's a give and take. There's a cost of doing expedited UR in terms of personnel, in terms of person hours that have to go into that, and it can create some confusion as far as which way do I go? Does this request go through regular UR or does it go through expedited UR? So at times when we feel like there's enough requests coming through that require expedited, then we've opened up that expedited process. So we received some feedback recently that said, hey, these requests are kind of cropping up again, and so we wanted to make this available to folks to meet that need. So as of a while ago already, I don't remember exactly when the memo came out, middle of September, expedited UR is currently available for use. The basic difference, and don't worry too much if you can't really read the stuff on that slide. The big part is that blue triangle in the middle, and basically it's how do you decide between expedited UR and typical UR. And the question that has to be resolved is my request related to COVID-19? The bar is set kind of low for that. It was intentionally so, but it's designed to address a rapid need to change a service. The most common one I think that we see currently is a day hab may be closing down because of COVID. And since they're having to shut the doors, then folks need to have alternate services planned. And so that would be something where you could utilize the expedited UR process. For other services that are not related to COVID-19, expedited UR does not apply. So if you're working on a van modification, there's not really a tie to COVID-19 with that. And so those types of things would go through regular UR. There's just no path to expedited for that. So hopefully that helps narrow that down a little bit. The expedited UR process still exists out on the web page. It is on the COVID-19 information page. The link is provided on the screen right now. And I took a little screenshot earlier of the documents that are just related to expedited UR, and you can see those on the screen there. The cessation and resuming expedited, you can, except for the most current one where we've resumed it, the rest of them, you don't need to worry about that. The utilization review process changes is important to read. The clarification for UR process changes, you want to make sure that you go through that document. And then the expedited service change request form is also available on the website, and it is in a PDF and a Word version. So I'd highly recommend that everybody take some time and go back and familiarize yourself with that process. All right, so the information I've got on the screen now is how you can get in touch with me if you need to at some point down the road to ask questions about this process. And that's really the gist of what we wanted to do today, is to give a little bit of overview and then to ask if anybody has any questions that they want to throw out. And if we can come up with an answer, we'll be happy to provide it.
And then we'll pause for these awkward moments of silence here that everyone kind of goes,
Came through about, are we going to get this slideshow and links? Absolutely. We can forward that out to the folks that have registered for the webinar today. Questions that come in. Really, the biggie is just to ask the question, hey, is this service request related to COVID-19? And if it is, and it needs to be done as quickly as possible because of the rapidly changing needs of the individual that we're trying to support, then that's the classic example of why you would maybe want to use Expedited UR and submit it that way. Okay, so we had a question come in. As long as the request is related to COVID, is it okay to complete an expedited request for self-directed supports? Yes. It's the primary question is it COVID related? And again, you just have to be able to provide that, that whatever the rationale is of why that's the case. Another question, can you give examples and non-examples of what is appropriate for Expedited UR? So again, the kind of the classic example of an expedited one is just a rapid service change. The person was, again, back to the DayHab example, a person was participating in DayHab, now the DayHab closes down. And so I need to modify that person's services so that they have coverage in a different way to meet their support needs. That would be a really good example. Something that wouldn't be an example would be like, again, the home modification request or some piece of assistive technology. Those sorts of things are a little bit more difficult to come up with how that request would be COVID related, and they would typically go through regular UR. So who completes the expedited form for the request, provider or case manager service coordinator? I believe it's supposed to initiate with the service coordinator. And again, I would encourage everyone to go out and look at the form that's available out on the website and roll through those 2 memos, because there's a level of detail in there about specific situations that'll really help you with nailing down the best way to use this process. Okay, another question. All normally required forms are still needed, such as ISL budget staffing patterns, SDS allocation form, SDS pre-UR review form, etc. So the answer to that one is to, in short, yes, kind of. Recommend going and reviewing those the 2 memos that are out on the website, because it helps clarify when and how those types of things need to be done for specific situations. There's a lot of depends on with each possible scenario. So I would go and reference those memos. Okay, another question. So I had a lot of issues with clients when they had to be indoors behaviorally. I needed to get them through the process quickly, but it went through regular UR. I'm not sure if that's a question or a statement, but hopefully we have a process in place that'll help get some services through more quickly when they're COVID related now, with Expedited being back in play. Would it be fair to say that the COVID UR is designed to bypass the regular UR process because of something due to COVID? Yes, that's it. That's absolutely correct. It's just to give a faster way to give service approval. So really the primary thing that Expedited bypasses is the requirement for it to go through committee. It allows a designee to weigh in on those things. So not having to go to a UR committee is what really makes cuts off days from there, because you're not waiting for that regular time for the committee to meet. Okay, another question. Can you request a waiver slot during this COVID time as PA individuals do not have to show up and provide services, but slots with comprehensive waiver does have to show up? If that question is the rationale for getting a comp slot, is it an appropriate rationale to say, I can't get providers under CSW waiver to show up to provide services, and the fact that I don't have that means I get a comp slot. So that's just an oddball question. I'd say oddball. It's come up many, many, many times. The short answer is no, that's not really a logic path to do that. However, we have seen where you know it becomes a critical need because those things haven't been there. So we would address any of those types of questions on a case-by-case basis. There's not a one-size-fits-all answer to that. Okay. Another question from chat. In regards to employment services, I've been told in the past if someone does not have supported employment authorized but were to obtain a job during the discovery, career planning, or pre-vocational process, is it appropriate to request an expedited reinstatement for supported employment or go through the regular UR process and hopes that the authorization will be approved at the retroactive date requested? Okay, so there's two different questions there. One is, I wouldn't see employment services as something that would be an expedited UR thing. That's just how I see it. There may be instances where maybe there is a COVID related reason why that request would go through. I don't know what it would be. But if you wanted to give me a shout offline or afterwards, we could go through that. In general, I would assume that employment services would go through the typical UR process in general.
So Neil, one that was up a little bit further says, if the request is an initial request for SDS, will it be expedited through the SMS?
I can't say the answer to that. I'll circle back to the answer. Unless Clay wants to weigh in on that. I think I'll have to circle back for that one to find an answer and get it back to you.
Okay, and then I wasn't sure if you'd seen the question that says, what is the turnaround time once service forms are completed?
Once the expedited form is submitted, there's supposed to be a 24-hour turnaround as far as getting approval or a recommendation for denial if we elect to not pursue whatever the service request is, but it's supposed to be done very quickly.
Okay, and will the expedited forms go directly to Jennifer or Lisa as before? I think they're talking specific regional office locations. Looks like we're talking Lisa Tracy.
Yeah, I assume that's the question as well. We're not doing anything different this time around than previous iterations of expedited UR. So if that was the process before, it's very likely that will be the case again. If you want to know exactly how that's going to be handled locally, I would recommend you contact your local UR lead and ask that question. Okay. New question. We've seen a lot of requests come through for a change in services from DayHab to PA, community integration, etc. Because of the current staffing crisis and DayHabs do not have appropriate staff. This would only qualify as an expedited request if it can be related to COVID. That is correct. Expedited UR is for requests related to the COVID-19 pandemic. If the request doesn't have anything to do with COVID, if you can't connect those two dots, then it goes through regular UR. All right, new question. Can the regional office send out information on who to submit at each regional office? The simple of that is you submit it to your UR lead at the regional office. Hopefully everybody knows who that person is already, but that's where those requests would go. Questions? All right, folks, I don't see any more popping in, so I'm going to assume that folks have run out of queries for today. The information on the screen still accurate. If you want to reach out to me, feel free to send me an email or give me a call directly, and I'll be happy to try and chat you through the process. And that goes for ongoing things that, as this process moves forward. Hopefully, we have a good way of getting services more rapidly to the folks that we are all jointly trying to support. And if we can help them have better lives during the pandemic, then we absolutely need to be able to do that in the best way we can. So thank you all for participating today. Thanks for all the questions, and have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the week and a beautiful weekend.